Okay, this Board of Trustees reconvenes to our regular board meeting of the Perris Union High School District at 5:17 p.m. Our next item is 6.1, the invocation. Trustee Garcia. Yes. Okay, the next item is 7.1, and we are going to go into recess to conduct a regular board meeting of the California Military Institute at 5:19 p.m. So, okay, we are in item 5.1. We are going to no, on the what's going to be 8.1 is an action item, is the revision, adoption, and ordering of the agenda for today's meeting. And actually take me into 8.1. This is 8.1, revision, but it's an action item. It could be in 5:30. That's what I was doing, the recommendation. Okay, before voting on action item 8.1, we are going to reconvene to the regular board meeting of the Perris Union High School District at 5:30 p.m. We are reconvening for that, and now we are going to act on item 8.1. Do I have a motion? So moved. Trustee Nelson. Second. And Trustee Garcia. Second, please vote. And the agenda for today is approved 5-0.
We didn't vote. We didn't even have a chance to vote.
The votes were already there.
That was your adjourn. What was the vote that you went to closed session? So you needed to advance.
Okay, because it appears, so take me to 8.1 again. Okay, take me to 8.1. And we said it was Trustee Nelson, right? First, and then Garcia. Perfect. Now, please vote.
It already says we voted.
Yeah, that's what it already says that we voted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's showing us that we all voted.
yeah.
Did you log us into CMI? Is this the regular?
Let me end the meeting, and I want to do it again.
Yeah, this is CMI.
Okay.
That was the CMI.
The CMI, okay, join the meeting.
No,
End the meeting.
Start roll call.
Start roll call. Regular board meeting. Roll call. Regular board meeting. Start the meeting. Okay. And now take it to 8.1. Yeah, the 8.1. And then take the meeting to 8.1. Now we are going to do it again. It's just Trustee Nelson and Trustee Garcia, right?
Yes.
Revision and ordering of the agenda. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Okay, please vote. feel like it. Okay, the agenda for, yeah, to both of them. The agenda for today's meeting has been approved 5-0. Okay, 9.1, report out of closed session.
No report out of closed session this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. 9.2, district update by the superintendent.
I have a few items I want to talk about this evening. The first one is every year our district, we have employees of the year that are selected by fellow staff members and by administration. And I want to recognize those people here this evening. They'll be awarded their actual award at the employee recognition night in March, but we do want to recognize them here in front of the board also. We have two teachers of the year. First one I'd like to introduce is Miss Cindy Ramos. She's an English ELD teacher at Paloma Valley High School. Stay down there, wherever you would like.
Okay. Try.
So you just stay there, Cindy.
I just stay here.
Okay.
Oh,
Our second teacher of the year is also an English teacher, ELD teacher from Paris High School, Xochitl Almendarez. Our site support person of the year is our tech coach from Paloma Valley High School, Tom Ashley. Our classified employee of the year is the campus supervisor from Pinacati Middle School, Alfonso Winters. Our certificate administrator of the year is from the Student Service Center, Diane Martin. You bring your family or something? Our principal of the year this year is from CMI, Mr. Michael Rhodes. Our confidential employee of the year is from here in the district office, Anna Fetzner.
Anna was here and had to leave and pick up her daughter from school. She apologizes.
We're going to revoke the award. Who here is confidential? You'll be the name. Our counselor of the year is from Paris High School, Mr. Xavier Padilla. And our final district winner is our classified administrator of the year, and she's not here this evening here at the district office, Judy Miller, our director of risk management.
There's too many for a selfie, so I needed it to be an ollie.
Okay, so wait here, another whole lot of fun.
Thank you.
This one here. Okay, now you can listen to other instructions.
Yes, you can sit. Thank you. These are just a few examples of the great people that we have working here in our district that we're so proud of working with our students. I want to also brag about Chris Madalena. He's an ag teacher at Heritage High School. He presented at the California Department of Education Southern Region of the California Agricultural Teachers Association In-Service Day. That was a mouthful. And they ranked their presenters, and he was the highest ranked of the day. So a great job out there representing our district and our school. So congratulations, Chris. I also, it's been a while since we've been up here talking. I was able to participate in the Paris Holiday Parade Candace had a bus decorated for me, and I sat up on top of it, and with nothing holding me up there. So it was just pucker power was holding me on top of it. And I was able to throw some candy out to the kids and stuff. It was a good time. It was fun. Did I mess up there? Start of the second semester has been great. It's been off to a good start so far. Getting kids in class right away, getting the schedules aligned, all that's going really well. I want to also recognize one other person, Scott Moore, our AD at Heritage High School. He was recognized by the Citrus Belt Athletic Directors, where he was selected as the southern section of the recipient for the Norm McKenzie Award for being an outstanding athletic director. And he'll be recognized at their conference, state conference in Burlingame in April. So congratulations to Scott Moore. Does a great job for our kids in our school, represents us well. And that concludes my report for this evening, Dr. Arau.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Okay, we go to item 9.3, the student representatives to the Board of Trustees. Trustee Nelson.
From Heritage High School, student representatives Elena Ruiz and Ashley Garcia.
Good evening, President Arau, members of the board, Mr. Bennett, and members of the cabinet. My name is Ashley Garcia, and this is Elena Ruiz. Here are some of the things going on at Heritage High School.
Our freshman students studied for their final exams, and they were treated to something we call cocoa and cram. This is a nice, relaxed place to study with some hot cocoa and some help from students. Once again, we had a great turnout, and it was a good way for our ninth graders to study.
We had an awesome Spirit Week, Legacy March, and Pep Rally. Lots of different groups and organizations participated in the Legacy March and the Pep Rally. It was a great way to get ready for finals and close the semester.
Last month was also the Hour of Code Week. At Coffee with the Principal, parents spent time programming and coding on their own. It was cool to have parents doing some hands-on work with technology and coding.
Our band program participated in the Christmas parade and also held its annual holiday concert. The choir and bands did a great job, and we had a full house. It was also cool to see drama working alongside our music program and entertaining us between sets.
We are proud to share that Miss Madrana was recognized at the Region 10 California League of Schools ceremony for the finalists for Education of the Year. Although she did not move on to represent the region, she was a finalist and top 10 educators out of thousands in the region.
We had a good group of students attend the MSJC Health Occupations Camp. They learned about that field and were very encouraged to pursue their dreams.
FFA also did a really cool event last month. They decorated 2 Christmas trees during the last FFA meeting and delivered them to 2 families in our community with small children who couldn't afford one. We are proud of our FFA group for being so involved in our community.
FFA also had a guest speaker from Pacific Animal Production. Students got to hear about conservation of wildlife efforts and learn about the various jobs associated with this work. Students also got a chance to see some exotic animals.
College acceptances are right around the corner for all of us. We are happy to share that 2 of our top students, David Leo and Andrea Serrata, have both been accepted to San Diego State University and have been asked to apply to their honors college. This is a huge honor for both of them, and we are happy to have them represent Heritage High School.
Last month, we also had a staff sponsor some cool events put together by Community and Parent Resource Center. Kids and their parents in our community made gingerbread boxes, and we also had students sponsored for holiday gifts. It was a good time for giving, and we are grateful for our staff and for their support.
We have some awesome staff at Heritage High School. Our classified employee of the month is our guidance secretary, Miss Audrey Smith. Ms. Smith is always helpful and has always been instrumental in supporting many students get to college. She does a lot of work for college and career guidance, and on top of being very busy with her current workload, she still stays involved in students' lives and is like a mother figure to many of us. Also, our teacher of the month, Mr. Ellis. Coach Ellis is a very positive role model for all of us. He really builds student character in the classroom and on the basketball court. He helps students learn the material and earn the best grade we can earn. And when he coaches, he is also teaching about dedication and commitment to success. We love both our employees of the month and appreciate their hard work.
Our student of the month was Daniel Ochoa. He has overcome many obstacles and challenges thanks to teachers like Mr. Wakeman. Daniel's parents work in schools too and have always taught him that it is important to work hard and try his best. Daniel hopes to join the Firefighters Explorers program and serve our community.
Winter sports are well underway. These are some of our standings. Although we've had some more games, so this might be different by now, one of our boys soccer players is ranked number 1 in Southern Section and has 24 goals so far this season. We invite you to come over and see our student athletes work hard representing our school.
These are some upcoming events. This month we have our freshman movie night, and our drama group will be putting on a black box production called the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. We've also included some other dates for upcoming events.
That's it for today. We hope you can make it to some of our events, and we thank you for letting us talk about some of Heritage High School news. Have a good night.
Okay, Trustee Twyman.
We have Hannah Ramos and Michaela Castro.
Good evening. These are some of the events that are going on in our campus. For the first, in December, before we went off break, we had 2 of our 3-year starting athletes on our varsity football team signed to Middle Tennessee and Boise State. We're very proud of them and wish them the best of luck on their football careers.
We recently just threw a perfect attendance party, which included 63 of our students who kept up perfect attendance, and we celebrated them by ordering a taco truck, and we had a DJ, games, and several big raffles for the students. Some of the prizes included MORP tickets, prom tickets, and grad night tickets.
Also, before we went off break, ASB put on a class fundraiser called Wrapping Admin. Students paid to get a piece of duct tape and duct tape their favorite admin to a wall to see who stuck the longest. It was a lot of fun, and we hope to do it soon. We had a group of our kids go to the MSJC Health Discovery Camp. They learned a lot about medical occupations, and they were able to practice different procedures and small things on real-life people and also human dummies.
Some upcoming events. At the end of this month, we have the Winter Pep Rally and Spirit Week. The theme is Winter Olympics, which will be incorporated into different days and activities ASB has planned for the week. ASB is also excited ASB has also started planning our next school dance, which is MORP, and the theme of that is Wizard of Oz. Paloma has our WASC inspection this February 4th through 7th. We will have a parent and student groups meeting on these days to talk about their experiences at Paloma. We'd love to formally invite all of you on February 4th to join us. Probably not.
Thank you. That's all we have for Paloma Valley.
Thank you.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Paris High School student representatives, Briseida Cardenas and Victoria Nuno. I apologize if I misnamed.
I'm too short for this. I gotta bring it down. All right. Good evening, President Arauz and board members, Superintendent Bennett and Cabinet. I am Briseida Cardenas, and with
Victoria
me,
Nuno.
and together we are your Paris High School board representatives. Tonight we are proud to report to you the many events taking place on our campus. December Student of the Month, Julian Lopez, who is not only an awesome in academics, and he is the top 10 of our class. Also, he won CIFs with cross country.
We also want to show off our Teacher of the Month, Miss Solomon. Mrs. Ruiz passed on Pete the Panther statue to Mrs. Solomon for her excellence in teaching science to her students.
Perfect attendance ice cream social. Students with 100% attendance along with their parents. It was sponsored by 31 Flavors, and students and parents attended and made their own 2 scoop sundaes. Students even had a chance to win some thank you gift cards for local businesses around. The highlight of the social was the inspiring and encouraging words from Dr. Wise, who hosted the event. Also, the business luncheon on Friday, December 8th, 36 local business owners came to Paris High for a business luncheon. Information that included our current state of academics, construction, and how their sponsorships have benefited the school were all presented. A guide site tour by student leaders and lunch prepared by our culinary class was enjoyed by all. Future sponsorships have also already been secured as a result of the meeting. CAP graduation, the California Association of Bilingual Education, graduated 30 parents on December 13th from Session 1, attended class, and taught parents how to navigate the American educational system.
For our winter formal was sold out again for the 3rd straight year in record time. Seniors Wendy Segala won Queen and Martin Lorera won King. What has now become a tradition, winter formal takes place in downtown Riverside at the Life Arts Center during the first day of Christmas break. It has become a fun way to celebrate the holidays and the completion of finals. For our Todak Legal Center Assembly had a tremendous presence at our school this past Friday. Government representatives from Mark Takano's office, the Riverside County Sheriffs, and City of Paris representatives were present at the event.
The assembly ended with a performance by La Banda Maravillosa.
59% of Paris seniors have completed the FAFSA application, and many of them have qualified for a $5,920 federal Pell Grant. Last night, 8 FFA members received their Golden State degree. It is the highest honor they can receive from the state while in high school. This award places our 8 Paris High students in the top 2% of FFA membership at the state, an honor well deserved. Future events include that tomorrow we have a blood drive, so if you want to donate, just walk in and we'll get you to the front of the line. Also, on Senior Panoramic Picture takes place on the 23rd of this month.
Also, a message from Ms. Cooper, our dual enrollment teacher. She wants to invite you guys on a field trip for the San Andres Fall. I'm not sure when it is because she didn't tell me exactly. She just yelled it at me before I left. She was like, just tell him. I was like, all right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Trustee Stafford. From Pennicati Middle School, we have student representatives Falo Martinez and Janelli Meza Vergara.
Good evening, Dr. Arax and school board members, Mr. Bennett, and members of the cabinet. I'm your ASB President, Janelli Meza, and here with me today is
Delilah Martinez. It has been a while since we last met, and I hope you had a wonderful start to your new year. A lot of things have happened that we would like to highlight.
On November 11th, over 50 students attended the UCLA football game sponsored by AAPAC.
Pinacati Robotics Club participated in the first competition of the year at Heritage High School.
ASB sponsored PJ Day. Wendy's rolled musical chairs to Jingle Bell Rock was also a blast.
December 1st, the Puma Cheer Squad represented Pinacati at the City Paris's annual Tree Light celebration.
The drama production class presented a Bully's Christmas Carol, a middle school twist with the classic tale.
Our annual winter dance was big, fun, and we all had a great time.
Students planted seeds and veggies to help our community garden to sprout.
Students planting, painting, and watering the garden. The grand opening was December 14, 2017, and students had a wonderful time.
On December 5th, 6th, and 11th, 8th grade science students took a field trip to the California Science Center to explore the possibilities of the future.
Close to 400 Pumas had the opportunity to experience the excellent interactive displays.
Thursday, December 14th was our annual Winter's Arts Night to highlight the performing and creative talents of our Pumas.
We had displays of student art,
performances by beginning and advanced band,
cheer rallied the crowd,
dance showed off their moves,
and drama capped off the evening with their performance of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
On January 10th, 7th graders took a field trip to the Museum of Tolerance. It was a vivid learning experience for them. Our upcoming Puma events for January. On the 18th is our first semester awards night. On the 19th, we have the Avid field trip to Paris High School. The 25th, the Winter Sports Rally, and the PTSA Social Night at 5:30.
On February, we have, on the 7th and 14th, a home basketball game, and on the 8th, the ASB Sweetheart Dance.
Our closing thought for the evening is the only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Thank you for your kind attention.
Okay, we continue with our meeting. Item 9.4, CSEA President Helen Steinbach.
Good evening, President Dr. Arau, members of the board, Superintendent Mr. Bennett, and Cabinet. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Welcome back. I want to update you with how busy our negotiating team and the district have been even through the break. We've been tasked by our members to find lower-cost health insurance and have spent many sleepless nights, well, not really sleepless, pondering the state of our insurance. We are extremely appreciative to the district for hiring DPI consultants to help us through the arduous process of searching the market and finding options that meet the requirements of the district within our current cap restrictions. We were disappointed to hear the results of the market search. 2 years ago, we were in a good position to offer options to our members, but we did not make our position clear to the board back then, and we were not able to bring about the necessary change that forced us into another 2-year commitment with REAP. Today, we are no longer a viable group, and our options are so limited that we are having to make very hard decisions. We've had 6 negotiation sessions and 4 workshops to explain to our members the limited options for health and welfare and what we needed to do to reset the clocks so that we can have options in the future. In negotiations last night, we drafted an MOU that we hope our members will be able to accept and ratify. The option to go with Blue Shield Trio is more cost-effective, but does not provide for the 87% of our membership in Kaiser to continue with it. This may be a hard pill to swallow in order to provide effective, financially responsible health and benefits for our classified employees and to move forward. We are grateful for the continued collaboration with the district and knowing that it may not be fiscally possible now, but hope someday more monies will be available to provide affordable health insurance for classified members and their families. Whether I wanted to or not, I've learned so much about health and welfare over the past 6 months. It would make anyone's head spin. And now, I'm sure you're on the edge of your seats waiting for my future updates. So thank you and good night.
Thank you, Ms. Steinbach. Next item, 9.5, PSEA President, Ms. Vicky Mueller.
I'm going to usurp your authority and release the kids.
I was going to do that after you, but wanted them
They don't have to listen to me
you.
speak.
Okay,
you
so
know.
at this time, you are welcome to leave. You can stay also if you would like.
I mean, they could stay if they want to, but seriously, I don't have anything exciting to say.
I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Dr. Rowe, Board, Mr. Bennett, and Cabinet. Excuse me, I am still getting over the flu. I hope you had a better holiday season than I did. Luckily, I got to go to Arizona and went to the Painted Desert and came back with some petrified wood. Not from the Painted Desert, though, from our property. I didn't steal petrified wood from the petrified forest. I did not steal petrified wood from the petrified forest. We have a whole logs on our property. Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. It's very exciting to see all the solar up and running. I was so encouraged to read the governor's report on the 10th. I've been reading over it the last couple days, you know, when I really need to sleep. But it's very encouraging, I'm sure, for everybody. One of the things that was especially encouraging was just for teacher retention and teacher recruitment and some of the things that are going on there, besides the education for those coming out of high school, what that's going to do. So, and what it may do for us moving forward. I also looked at the building and the money that was set aside for that, so that was exciting to see how much had been set aside for that. But we'll be talking over the next few months about that. I normally wouldn't take this time to talk about this now, but it is my birthday, and after today, after I talk here, I have chocolate cake calling my name. So it's in the car, sorry. I could. I could. I'm not going to, but I could. But I could bring some tomorrow. But there's a position I did miss the last board meetings again. I was sick. The last board meeting I was at, there was a position that was introduced, and it was for a coordinator, safety and security coordinator. And I was really encouraged to hear this because it's something that we have talked about with the district many times about the lack of training, lack of consistency, and that if there was one person that could lead this and make sure that all the sites are following the same protocols, all the sites are following the same trainings, all campus supervisors are getting the same training for disruptive students. I came in a back gate over at Paloma. All the way through campus, not one person stopped me to ask who I was. And not every campus supervisor knows who I am. They don't. I didn't have a name tag on. Not one person stopped me. And that's concerning. Because if we had those protocols in place by campus supervisor, someone should have stopped me. And so that's just one incident. And there are many. I mean, we've had things happen where kids end up on campus and things like that. I just think that we need to really stop and think about where we're moving to the future, where we have these lives in our hands. And we have to do the best we can to make sure they're safe when they're with us. And that the other students in the classes are safe. And that I'm safe. And so I just think that if we look at someone who's got that specialty, that can make sure that we're at the top of the game on trainings, we're at the top of the game on what we're doing for those students, for our members, for our employees, then we're ahead of the game. You know, I said the same thing. I stood up here about being prepared in an emergency. When I came up here, we've gone to see trains. We had no water. We had no food. We had nothing. Had there been an earthquake that day, Bill Holstrom was sitting up here. Had we had an earthquake that day, we would not have been prepared. Now we have food. Now we have water. We have things in the classroom. We have those things in place. Let's not stop there. We need to keep getting better at what we're doing and keep providing more for our students and for our staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Happy birthday. Okay, the next item is 10.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on agendized and non-agendized items. So we have this building, the 15. The three of them. Okay, so we are going to wait then until the 15.1. 11.1 is an action item, is our consent calendar. Do I have a motion? Trustee Garcia and Trustee Nelson. Please vote. And the consent calendar for today has been approved, 5-0. Information item 12.1, bond feasibility and planning update.
Okay, well, I'd like to introduce the consultants that you hired. We hired from TBWB, and there's another initial now, but they'll always be TBWB to me, Strategies, Joy Tatarka and Jeremy Hauser. And I'm realizing I don't think I sent your presentation. Okay, my fault. Give me a second. Sorry. Tell a story, Joy.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, superintendent, members of the cabinet, Joy Tatarka with TBWB Strategies. A good story. I don't even have one. I should.
Hit refresh, Sarah, and it should be there.
I have a great presentation for you.
What's going on, James? There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I know, it was too long.
It might have been one of both. Sorry. Sure. We'll advance. However, so as you know, we had done a community survey back last fall, studying the feasibility of a potential bond program for this coming November of 2018. From that presentation, you had recommended that the district continue looking at the feasibility of that and developing a communication plan to begin some outreach and education of the community about what your plans might be if you were to pass another bond, and then also receive feedback from the community. So this was the timeline that we had originally talked about. This is the November bond timeline. Obviously, we've completed the red section there. So now we really are in that building consensus and starting to put together a strong measure and what that might look like. And that would include items such as what would be the project list. Those have pretty much been already decided and looked at, but putting that all together in the resolution that you would consider and vote on before that August 16th date. So far, what we have done, in October, there was that feasibility committee. It included a lot of members from the interested community. We had the room packed here. We presented to them, walked them through the survey results, the same ones that you had seen as well, and had a really nice conversation about the projects and the types of things that would be conducted there. Those results were also, as I mentioned, presented to the board. In November, we worked with the district to develop a comprehensive communication plan. We looked at all the different ways that we could begin reaching out to the community and also getting some of that information back in order to be transparent and receive feedback and make sure that your priorities are matching those with everyone in the community as well. So from that communication plan, we started developing informational materials. So some of the first pieces that we developed were a fact sheet that we've just finalized. We started putting together an FAQ to ask some of the frequently asked questions that people might be asking. That way district staff and others would be able to respond to those questions. And we also began work on a PowerPoint presentation so that people could go out and start giving presentations to local organizations. And then as part of that, we also wanted to have a landing page that was easily accessible on your website so that if anyone wanted to go find out information about what the district had been planning so far, they could find it easily from the main page of the website and then click there, and they could find all of this information in one spot for them. So here in January, the website is going to go live. I have a copy of, on this, I know it's kind of small, but you'll see all the materials here in the next month. This was just an infographic. We started showing some of the increased, working with the district staff, some of the increased enrollment projections that you could be facing to sort of talk a little bit about why we're looking at that new high school. The fact sheet that we developed will go out to families. And then we'll do those informational outreach meetings with not only key stakeholders in the community, but also, as I mentioned, going to places where people already meet. So looking at the chamber meetings, any Rotary meetings, all of those places where people may gather, and having an opportunity to speak with them and hear their feedback as well. We are also working on an informational mailer to the community, and it will have a tear-off survey on this. It'll be asking for input into the process. So it's an opportunity for everyone in the community to sort of mark their priorities. It's not scientific. So you'll remember the survey that we did before that was presented by True North and Dr. McLarney was scientific. So it very much matched your demographics of your voting community. This is non-scientific. It's just an opportunity for people to share their thoughts with you, even if they weren't part of that scientific survey. In February, we'll continue our outreach. We'll take a look at some of that survey results, and we'll have an opportunity to bring those back to you at a later date so you can hear what people in the community are saying. And we're also working on a couple town hall meetings. We are actually scheduling 3, and I'll show those dates up here in the beginning. But we're talking about what those will look like, what types of materials will be presented at the town halls, and again, just another opportunity for people to come and interact with the district and hear more information about why you're looking at this. So in March, April, May, and June, it really is focused on that communication. We have our first town hall meeting planned for March 1st. You'll notice that these town hall meetings are being spread throughout the district so that people have opportunities, no matter where they live, to easily get to them. We'll also be working on the resolution, the project list, all the legal language that needs to go into that so that you have that available. We will also in March do a second informational piece to the community, just letting them know we heard from you. We appreciate the time and effort that you put into responding to our survey, and we want to share the results back out with the community. So just another opportunity to engage with the community at large. The second town hall meeting is scheduled right now for March 26th. That would be at Paloma. And then the third one was scheduled for May 9th. We're still looking at the location depending on school availability and, again, where might be a good thing. We were very thoughtful in the planning of each of these meetings, trying to make sure that we weren't conflicting with any other major city or school district feeder meetings so that we could hear from everyone and we weren't competing for people's time for other meetings as well. In May, we had also talked about, in April actually, beginning to work on a potential tracking survey. So what this would do is it would give you an opportunity to hear from the community again. That would be more scientific again. Just letting you know, because we did all of this outreach and had an opportunity to speak to people and hear back from them, has those results changed at all? Have people become more supportive? Is there more questions? It'll really help us let you know and help you make an informed decision about whether or not to move forward with a bond on the November election. We will, of course, have an opportunity to present those well before you make a decision. So that would be in May. And then in June, of course, we would look at doing another mailer, just letting the community know, if the board has taken action and whether or not there will be something on the ballot in November. And I think that is it. That is kind of a brief overview, but I wanted to keep everybody up to date and let you know what our plan is going forward and answer any questions you might have.
If I could just add one thing, we also plan to have Joy here again in March and then in May, just to give the board continual updates like you're having tonight. So I believe that's on your governance calendar, or we put in a Friday update or something.
Yes. So if there are, materials that you want to see or other information I can provide, please let me know before those meetings. But again, just an opportunity to keep informing you of how the progress is moving.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is 12.2, Special Education Presentation.
At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Cindy Barris, our Director of Special Education, to give a presentation to the board.
Good evening, Dr. Rao, Board, Mr. Bennett, Cabinet, my colleagues, and guests. So I'm here to just give you a quick snapshot into what's going on in special ed, more numbers, upcoming programming, things like that. At any time, stop and ask questions. So here we go. These numbers were pulled today. If you know anything about enrollment of special education, we are in the process currently right now of enrolling 6 different students. Our enrollment it just continues to flow all year long. So as of right now, let me rephrase that. As of yesterday, our numbers were 1,120. So roughly about 10.5% of our population here in the Paris Union High School District. And we are currently in the process of assessing 11 students. So if those students qualify, those add to our numbers as well as students coming and going. So our numbers are in flux, which is why you'll always hear me say roughly. When we look at the breakdown here, I place them into 2 columns. The first column are your special ed numbers. And so that's the percentage on the bottom as well. So the column right next to it is in comparison to our district as a whole. So if we look at our Hispanic population, we run about, in the special education program, we run about 67.7%, where in our regular district population, we run about 71.1%. So it gives you a quick snapshot across the board of where we're at, more if we're disproportionate or not in the columns. So what we're looking at is what we'd like to see is a balance. You'd like to see, picture perfect, those bars stay equal. If you take a look at our bars, they're pretty close, but they are not equal. So we do have some work to do in making sure we're not either over-identifying or under-identifying in certain areas. When you take a look at the right, we have the breakdown by gender. So in special education, I'm going to be honest, I've done this for about 16, 17 years. It's more typical to have more males than females. And so currently within our district, we have 67.4% males identified, and then within our population, and 32.6% are females identified. And then when you look over, to the columns right next to it, it's pretty close, more of a 50-50. It's actually, we have 51.5 males in the district, and we have 48.5 females in the district. So when we take a look at the next slide, what we have are a breakdown by grades. And so this actually gives you the percentage of population based on grade level. The reason why I wanted to show this to you is, pay special attention to that 9th grade bar. Notice it's all the way to the top. That 9th grade dictated the top of my graph. So it's 304. And the reason why that's critical is, for the most part, these are students that come to us identified. We're getting an influx of students entering into our school district being identified. And that's why you see such a high graph. So when we're looking at, our percentage of students in special education, a lot of it is not something we have control over, especially when you look at that 9th grade year, when we're talking about over-identification. Many of our students come to us over-identified, and we kind of
work that out. Typically what we try to do is you want to try and stay about 10 to 11. Currently in the state, they're running pretty close to 12%. But what you want to do is you want to stay pretty close to, an accurate read is about 10% of the population. So when we look across some of the grade levels, some of them are doing quite well, some of them are a little bit high. But again, I really want you to take a look at that 9th grade because they come to us that way. When you look over and to the right, you have the foster youth population as well as our homeless population. They make up a very small percent. I wanted to give you a breakdown real quick by school. We do run some separate programs for each school. Pinacate Middle School currently right now serves 152 special education students. We have 3 different programs at the school. SAI, which is typically, we have some self-contained classes. These are your diploma-bound kids. Severely handicapped, that's a self-contained class. These are your students who are more on a functional skills or typically looking at a certificate track. And then we have an emotionally disturbed class for students who need support with behavior, and that's a self-contained class. We don't have that class on all of our campuses, but we do have one at the middle school. Heritage High School serves about 348 special education students currently. They also have the SAI program. They also have the SH program. But their ED students or students who need behavior support are serviced within the gen ed setting. We do have one teacher who focuses on students who need behavior support. They do have kind of a pull-out where they can come to him if need be, but they're not in that class all day. They're generally serviced in the gen ed population. We take a look at Paloma. Paloma currently serves 338 special education students. They also have the same SAI and SH programs. What you're going to notice is those programs are at every school, but this is the one high school in the district that also services a self-contained classroom for our behaviorally challenged students. Paris High School, they serve 226 of our students. Again, they have the SAI and the SH, and their emotionally disturbed population or students who need behavior support are serviced in the gen ed setting. We go to Paris Lake High School. Paris Lake High School currently serves 7 special education students. That process, Mr. Herman kind of worked through that process, and what we do is our sites determine whether or not the student is eligible, and then the IEP team then has to determine if placement is acceptable, which means if we can have services there. We do have a teacher there. We have one SAI aide as well, and so they're able to support the students if they need it. But when you look at our continuum of options, because of the way the program is structured, they have some embedded supports, but it also, the state looks at it as kind of a less restrictive placement, which is why you often see those numbers a little low. So that's kind of what we have to look at there. Scholar Plus is doing a great job. They service 5 of our special education students, and the same teacher who services Paris Lake High School also services our students with Scholar Plus, so that's also a viable option for them if they're eligible for that and the IEP team determines that's okay. California Military Institute services 13 of our special education students. Currently they have 1 teacher, and they only do provide SAI service right now because that's what they need. We also have 118 students currently serviced with Riverside County Office of Ed. Our transitions, when you look at those numbers in parentheses, those are the number of students that are actually within those programs. So our transition program, which is our 18 to 22, we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. They serve currently 79 of our students. Autism, our students with autism, those are in grades 7 through age 22, and these are our students who need a specialized program focusing on autism, and these are your certificate-bound students. Emotionally disturbed, the county services 1 of our students in a middle school setting. Medically fragile, there are 15 of those students that are being serviced and are deaf and hard of hearing students. And these are students who require a separate program. There are 2 schools that actually offer sign language interpreters within the classroom that's embedded, so our deaf students can actually get a high school diploma that way. The only unfortunate part about that is they only service students who are getting a high school diploma. They do not service our students who need maybe some interpreting but are on a certificate track. The county also services, but they then enroll with them, and I have it on here, our students special education students that are also expelled. We do not count them in our numbers, but we do have to attend their IEPs and determine if and when they're ready to come back and they've met their requirements. What's to come? We've got a lot of movement, and I want to thank Mr. Bennett about the PALS program. He actually talked about our new site. It's the Pathways for Adult Life Skills. It's at the change of the academy. We're going to be bringing our 18 to 22-year-old students back. If you looked at that number was 79. That's a large number. Oftentimes, district will use the county office when you have a small number of students who require a large program. When you start looking into larger numbers, these are our kiddos, and we can do a darn good job servicing them. And so we're ready to bring that back. So we'll have 2 different RCOE sites coming to one location, which will be really nice. We get a lot of collaboration that way. Students that way, what we have are 2 classes at the Valverde Regional Learning Center and 2 classes kind of on an annex building of MSJC that will be able to service all of those students. That includes workability. Of those 79 students age out at the age of 22, but there's some very strange requirements on if your birthday falls on this month, when you can come to school and when you can't. So that's why there's that little bit of breakdown. 21 of those students will be 22 in the 18-19 school year, but some of them will start with us, some of them will end in December, and some of them will end in June. Of those, we also have 19 potential seniors coming to that will be graduating within our certificate program. This is a little bit different when I say potential. It's because the program is not required from 18 to 22. We're required as a district to provide the service, but students aren't required to come. At any time they can decide if they are the holder of their own rights that they don't want to come to school anymore, they're finished, or the parents can decide if they're the conservator. We are seeing a steady increase. It's an increase from 64 at the end of last year to right at the moment 79 students. Do you guys have any questions? No? Thank you. Thank you. Please let me know if you do.
Our next item is 13.1, information item, general functions, regarding the Williams Settlement Quarterly Uniform Complaint Report summary for October through December. 13.2, information item, discipline report for the month of November. 13.3, discipline report for the month of December. 14.1 is an action item, is personnel certificated personnel action item. So I have a motion. Trustee Garcia and Trustee Nelson. Please vote. (14.1) has been approved, 5-0. 14.2 is also an action item, is personnel classified personnel. Do I have a motion? Trustee Nelson and Trustee Stafford. Please vote. (14.2) is also approved, 5-0. 14.3 is also a personnel action item, resolution number 15, 1718, week of the school counselor. Do I have a motion? Trustee Nelson, Trustee Garcia, please vote. And the week of the school counselor has been approved, 5-0. 14.4 also is a personnel action item, new job description for coordinator of safety and security and authorization to recruit. Do I have a motion? Trustee Nelson, Trustee Garcia. Before making a vote, do we have any comments or questions?
Yes, I have some comments I'd like to make about this item. Was able to meet with Judy Miller and to discuss the Art Fritz and actually Mr. Bennett, Superintendent Bennett. This item, I think we're ahead of ourselves on with this. We went through the presentations. When we met, we talked about a lot of the items. A lot of the questions I have are concerning what we've already done, what was in place, who was in charge. Recently, we just brought back we have SROs at all the sites. We elevated different district positions, made a deputy superintendent, we made a assistant director of M&O. We elevated all these positions. We have plant supervisors that currently this is their job. They are in charge of 9 employees at each high school and fewer at the other sites. We have leads at the sites that don't have plant supervisors. This position, as you know, I know well because I did the job for 5 years. We don't need to pay someone $85,000 to $108,000 a year at this time for this position. What we need to do is train our people, get them up to specs on everything that's required by the state so they meet all the guidelines. So a person coming in from outside doesn't have to try to reinvent something or bring in something totally new that is basically in place. The report we got from the consultant is that our district was in good shape and we were doing well, and our campus supervisors do a great job. Now, yes, they do need some additional training, and I think they deserve that training. I think the plant supervisor plays a critical role because he's boots on the ground in the school. He is there every day. He's not someone that's going to come in and out and maybe pop in and sign some time cards and say hello. He is there with them every day at the high schools. At the middle schools and the other sites, the leads, possibly I could see them getting a little elevation where they can do some training and have a little more authority over their the people they work with. I don't see enough work for the plant supervisor once you take these 9 employees away. That the salary we're paying them, I don't see where that work is filled in. All of a sudden, we're paying high salaries for a lot less work. We're talking about saving money, yet we're looking to add a position of this amount of money. I don't agree with it. I don't. My history in safety and my history with this district tells me we need to train, have things in place. The custodial staff has a custodial handbook. The campus security doesn't. There's been nothing done. They've been ignored. And now we think that we're just going to create a high-ranking position, an administrative position to solve the problem. It's an everyday job in the schools. It's not a just be there a minute or know a few rules. It's an everyday job. You have to know these kids and know what goes on in your school. And that's what vital role the plant supervisor plays. I know, I can attest to it. I've done it 5 years. I have confidence in our people, and I think developing them and not taking away, say you take away that development of your plant supervisor. Now he decides he wants to move further up the rank and do something else. He's lost skills that he would otherwise have obtained working in our district and working with our people. I want to make sure I cover all the points, so give me a second here. What I did talk about is, okay, what we were doing before now. Where were we? What were we doing? And we can see where we have some shortcomings. So I asked that we come up, we table this item and get more information and come up with a plan B. I want to see what is a different option other than this one pathway. There has to be a different option that we can look at and be able to decide. But to have it presented in this way and a quick approval and all of a sudden I don't think everybody really understands what's in front of them. Not for lack of can't understand it, just have not read it, or it's going rather quickly. So let's take our time with this. I said that at the original presentation. The consultant did an excellent job, I thought. He identified our needs. I just think we're moving too quickly. I was concerned about funding, that it was not clearly explained on we were getting safety credits, and that if Judy wasn't here, we'd no longer get those credits because our safety record was not as what it was. And what we're taking on is an reoccurring cost year after year after year. Where training, what do you think the guys, whoever, male or female, the first thing when they step in this door, they're going to say, we need to train. That's where they're going to head right away. So you're going to go and start to do the training. So we're putting the position before we're respecting our people and getting their abilities above where they should be. I want to make sure that I hit all the points that I want. I'm very passionate about this.
Well, while you're looking for that, Tony, let me jump on what you're saying really quickly. I agree with you in the fact that the the plant managers will definitely have a much lighter caseload without having to deal with the campus security, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you in the fact that I don't know if what we are paying them would be cost effective for the job they would have to do without giving them something else to do if they're losing those employees who are under them.
Yes.
So I agree with you on that point.
One more concern or two more concerns. During the football season is really a heavy load season at the high schools, and having a plant supervisor during those football games, you have as many as 5,000 people on your campus. You have to run that stadium. You have to know where are all the emergency lights on. Your staff has to know. Now, since I've done the job, some things have slipped through the cracks. So that's why everyone has to continue to train. So this goes for the plant supervisor, the leads, the APs. But if we're going to just throw it under an AP, APs rotate. APs go to IEPs and all different meetings. You won't have the same AP on campus at all times. You could have a totally different AP that doesn't know anything about what's going on. And your lead person that the proposal presents here is not going to necessarily be there. They can't be everywhere. That's just a lead position. So I think everyone understands where I stand on this. I qualify myself by telling you I've done the job for 5 years as a plant supervisor for this district. I was the maintenance and operations supervisor. I'm a retired fire captain of 20 years with the East Orange Fire Department. I know what I'm talking about. Training, standard operating procedures. Yes, that all is the key, and that's where we need to start, not just with a high-cost position. Thank you.
So I would strongly disagree with the fact that we don't need this position. Can you guys hear me? I too do the job. 18 years with Valverde. In fact, my title is DSO 2, District Security Officer 2. I'm not comparing Valverde and Paris, but what I am saying, we are behind in times in Paris. The truth is, the role's evolving. Are we? No, we're not. When I first came aboard as a board member, I noticed things that didn't make any sense to me. Campus supervisors not in uniforms, identifiable. The conversations I had with some of them were, yeah, we need training. Yeah, we need consistency. Today, the teachers union came up here and spoke about consistency. Mr. Stafford, you being in the fire department, you know about structure. Structure needs to be implemented. Ms. Judy Miller, with the conversation that I had with her, was she cannot provide all the training to all the campus supervisors on her own. She needs someone, because her job is completely different. Her job isn't to oversee just the campus supervisors. They have to evolve with times, and yes, every department should have some type of supervisor. Reason being is plant managers, their safety is in construction. It's not in their well-being of each and every individual. Are they certified like most of it? Well, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Some of the training that we have is strictly law enforcement training on how to handle different types of situations: riot control, crowd control, mentally unstable, trespassers, terrorism, active shooters. I'm not saying the plant manager can't do it. I'm just saying I support the fact that they would have one consistent supervisor who could provide consistency across the district. And if there's a situation that supervisor can conduct an investigation, if there's a use of force that the campus supervisor has to do, that they would be cleared by that supervisor because they have expertise in that field. Law enforcement is not something minute. This is serious. If we pay attention to what's going on in the world, we have to evolve the campus supervisors and make safety a priority. They need someone who has history, put our history together, and X amount of years, who specializes in that. Would you have a brain surgeon be your baker? Would you have your baker be your brain surgeon? Just think about it. You need someone who specializes in that field, and specifically. And I agree with all the training that you said. Plant supervisor, I strongly disagree, should not be overseeing campus security at all. They're great with plannings, other materials, but when it comes to security, we can have the conversation. We could even debate about this, but this is a no-brainer. They should not be overseeing campus security, period. Let me see, I'm just things that you talked about. I don't believe this is a quick approval, by the way. We brought this up last year. We talked about, we all agreed we wanted more information. And how do you say it? Mr. Wilhite. He came back with that information. I feel it's sufficient, and I want to see, being a board member, I want to see Paris be ahead, not behind in the times. I want to know that my kids, when they attend here, that they're safe. We shouldn't be having issues like the I'm forgetting everybody's name. I apologize. The teachers union talk about where people are walking on campus without being stopped and confronted. I'm sorry, but is a plant manager trained to confront a trespasser? Are they mentally prepared for what's going to happen next, whether it's a peaceful contact or an aggressive contact? What happens if that trespasser decides to, take it to a level that we're not prepared for, and they use force or use a weapon? So training, yes, comes with everything, but you can't have an effective program unless you have structure, and structure definitely needs to be some type of coordinator or whatever the title may be. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Trustee Nelson?
I see both sides. I definitely see what Mr. Stafford's saying, but I also definitely see what Mr. Garcia is saying. You're worried that the job can be done effectively with who we already have in place. And part of me says that, no, I don't think it can be. Yes, I think training is definitely needed, but I honestly think that we may need somebody in a coordinator role that can make sure everybody's being trained properly, everybody's up to date on all their certifications that are needed. Somebody who's been in the field, who knows how to deal with active shooter, everything, pretty much everything you brought up right there. And I honestly don't know if our plant managers are up to that task right now. And I don't even know if they'd be up to the task with a number of trainings, because that's not their background. I do see your point, especially in the fact that if we take these campus supervisors away from being underneath the plant managers would be highly overpaid for the job that they were supposed to be doing, but now they don't have those employees. So that would have to be addressed as well. But I honestly don't think that the plant managers that are qualified to coordinate the campus security across our entire district.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. In the same way, I can see and I understand Mr. Stafford's point of view as well as Mr. Garcia's, and thank you for providing that insight, right, from the perspective of we can consider, or I can consider experts on the safety. And also, one of our priorities is the safety of our students, and our actions should match those words, right? On the other hand, it is true that we need to provide training, but that training doesn't necessarily have to be provided by the supervisor, right? So given the opportunity, it makes sense to me, to the current staff members that we have, that based on the report that we have from the consultant, they are doing an outstanding job. So supporting them, believing that they can do that, and look for that consistency in all sites. That being said, I was thinking, what about if we look, because I would like to make a really well-educated and informed decision, right? Because now we are seeing from two perspectives. Could it be the possibility or another option? Like we are presented with only one thing: hiring, in order to solve that, to address that issue, hire a coordinator of safety, right? Can we look, and probably the district look into what other options can we have, right? And without being that, because we're talking about $108,000, I'm just wondering, to train and provide that training to the campus supervisors with a consultant, is that going to cost $108,000? Just wondering. I don't know, right? So that's why I was saying if that would be a possibility, and if the trustees, our board, considers that as an option. And maybe for the next meeting, we can provide another option, another potential solution to address this concern, right? Then we can vote on both of them. So that being said, I'm proposing to potentially, I'm not saying at the end of the discussion, table this item, get more information on another potential solutions, and then we can make an educated decision. I know you wanted to say something.
Well, I would disagree, for the reasons being that this has been tried already. In the conversations that I've had prior with Ms. Miller, is that because of the contract, you do need someone who oversees the security because of what their contract language and how to work and adjust during those times that they're on duty rather than off duty. And there, there's a lot of nooks and crannies that need to be corrected, but she cannot, as an individual who's over safety right now, and if I'm correct, she's mostly dealing with lawsuits and liabilities on the district. So her overseeing or whatever, the security department, is kind of, it's more devastating than it would be beneficial, or even someone else, because they have their other tasks. But the reason why I'm supporting this so much is because I understand and have been doing my job for so long that if you don't have structure, you're not going to get anywhere. These people, not to be rude, thank you for taking care of everybody and us when we go on campuses, but you're barely getting by. You don't have all the tools you need. You need more. And to be efficient, and there's a phrase called work smart, not hard. You guys need to be working real smart where you're not in danger as much with what's going on. I think by delaying this, it puts the district more at opens the door to liability.
It's not a personal issue. You know that. Okay. Just a couple of things. The current chain of command is Judy Miller is not in charge of the campus supervisors. It comes under business services, which is under Candace Rains. Then you have Director Fritz, Assistant Director Slippage, and down the line. So Judy Miller is not the boss of the campus supervisors. She consults on many things, collaborates with them. She does a great job and has always done the finest work. I've worked with her for many years. So, a lot of the things I see, we agree on. So, when I spoke initially, I said I want to table it and want more information. I don't think there's enough in front of us to approve this position at this time, but more discussion needs to be had. So I would just respectfully say my position, I feel, is the route we should go, and we'll have to vote on it and see where we go. But I think we should take our time with it and go a little further.
So how would that work if we tabled it, since we can only talk about this in open session and we can't talk about it privately and break the Brown Act? How would that work? Do we have a special meeting where the community could be involved? Because I think it's important, even the security be involved and have input if we're going to table it.
Yeah, I think it's not only information. I think we know the challenges, we know the issues, we know what we want to achieve, right? That consistency, that systematic approach in all the districts, in all the sites, in all the schools of the district. From my perspective, and listening to both sides, right? So it's just, do we happen to have another options? Maybe they might exist any other option in terms of training, or at least consider that, right? Because in order to make a decision, and we need to be careful with investment, it's costing $108,000, but that is not the main issue, right? Because safety doesn't have a price, right? However, is that going to be the solution? The silver bullet? It's going to fix everything if we invest $108,000. So let's look for another potential options, and then say, hey, this one might work like this. What about if there is another option through a more in-depth analysis? They said, wow, we haven't thought about that. Or the district, when they made a recommendation, we come up with another potential solution that is not that, or even might be 110,000. It doesn't matter, but it might be feasible. I don't know. That's what I would like to see. Not more information, but is there any other potential solution to this situation?
Well, when meeting with Judy and in the meeting we did have on it, we talked about developing a Plan B, a handbook equal to, say, the custodial handbook, a security handbook. We talked about, all different options, training, and just what roles the APs played, and so I just I'd like to see that Plan B before moving forward. So let's compare. I say we compare and then make a decision from there.
If the board would like, I could very briefly talk about what some options outside of this might be. Ultimately, we brought this forward at your request at the last meeting for you to take action on. And so, I would say that Edward's right in terms of we started studying this at the board's direction. I believe it was in March. We had a study session on security. And since that time, after engaging Dr. Wilhite to help us with the study, I would say we have done a very comprehensive study of the programs we have in place, primarily focusing on what's lacking, because that's what we needed to address, of course, and really going over all of the many options. And so, quite frankly, and as you know, this is the option that is we are recommending after having studied all those options, that the expert and the experts in-house in their individual capacities. Tony, you mentioned me. We've talked about Judy, and then, of course, Dr. Wilhite. But Plan B or different options. Certainly many years ago, our COE used to conduct these trainings, and we would send our employees to that. They had special grant money for that. Certainly we could find a consultant to bring in and conduct the trainings, find a place where we could send campus supervisors for trainings. But the reason that's not our recommendation, but still is an option for the board to consider, because it is ultimately the board's decision, is because that is the bare minimum. That is to meet the legal requirement of what a campus supervisor must have in order to work in a school setting. Also, that person, that trainer, isn't vested in this district. So similarly, you talked about the custodial handbook, and you're right, we don't have anything written for campus supervisors, and that needs to be addressed. We could continue to have Dr. Wilhite hire another consultant to put those policies and procedures in place for us. I'll tell you, while I haven't crunched those numbers start adding up very fast, and in fact, could exceed the cost here. Of course, those are one-time costs. This is an ongoing cost. I recognize that. But again, dropping a manual and saying, okay, here you go, the reason we didn't recommend that, even though, again, it's a one-time cost, is because we feel we need a person who's here every single day, vested in this district, the employees of this district, policies, procedures, protocols, every day, ongoing training, and training that's above that of the legal ed code requirement. So those are some of the other options we considered. I apologize if we didn't make that clear to the board. Are there other options we haven't considered yet? There may likely be, but those are the options, unless I'm forgetting any, Charlie, that we did talk about, and why we came up with the recommendation, that we did. I hope that was helpful.
Absolutely. Good evening.
Good evening. So, what we've discussed so far, can you tell us, because I believe in your proposal, or your studies, excuse me, it identifies what we're talking about the handbooks and all that other stuff that this, let's call him a coordinator for right now, this coordinator would tend to. What else would they do? So maybe it could bring some satisfaction to the board.
I think what significantly, the reason that I recommended the position as opposed to just contracted training, because to be real honest, all the training that the district needs and all of the documents that they need, my firm can do, and it would be very beneficial to us. But it's somewhat like planting a rose and then not watering it. The ed code is consistently changing. The skills that we train are what we call perishable skills. And although we can come in at the beginning of every school year and provide that training, what we can't do, or I guess we could, but what wouldn't be cost efficient for the district, is for us to consistently be monitoring the performance of those employees and the day-to-day, I'll say, tweaks or on-the-spot corrections that need to take place with those employees. One of the things I've heard that I think is important to address is an issue with district-level continuity and accountability. Because right now, each of the plant supervisors is responsible for his plant, his campus or her campus. And at those locations where there is no campus supervisor, or excuse me, a plant supervisor or manager, an AP, or maybe over the last 5 years, 7 or 8 APs are responsible for that. What the district lacks is that person who can ensure that what's happening at Pentecostés is happening at Paloma and is happening at Heritage, and when there's a problem, that it's addressed. And I'll give you guys an example, which you probably don't know, but you authorize your campus supervisors to carry pepper spray and use it on campus. Did you know that? It's in your policies. And because the day-to-day operations are left to persons who don't have district-wide responsibility, those are the kinds of things that are going to slip through the cracks. There absolutely is the option to train with consultants, train with outside experts, you can do that. The reason we don't recommend it, and the reason I specifically for this district didn't recommend it, is because of the real lack of continuity, lack of communication. If you looked at my recommendations, they all seem to head towards the head of the octopus, let's say, and that's where we need somebody who is accountable for all of these things. And just to quickly address Mr. Stafford, and honestly, the issue with the workload of the campus, the plant managers is outside of my purview. But as a 20-year fire captain, there are things that that you learned by doing the job every single day, 24 hours, 3 shifts, or however you worked, that no matter how many times we come in and train you, and I'm not talking about how-tos, I'm talking about up here, sensing danger, knowing when something's wrong, that no matter how many times I come in, twice, 3 times, 4 times a school year, I'm never going to be able to get that knowledge, that special bit of whatever it is you have up there that made you so successful as a plant manager supervising campus supervisors. I'm never going to be able to train that.
How would you do a job every day and not get it and not gain any knowledge?
Right now, if a active shooter came in this room, are your plant supervisors trained to take control of this room and ensure the safety of everybody in here?
They should be able to,
but they're not.
That's why I think we're going up a different area. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, really, because all that wonderful. And I can understand both points of view. So are these people, I mean, who's going to be allowed to apply to this position?
Well, the job description is fairly specific, and that's one of the keys of the position, is that it requires experience in law enforcement, in campus security, so that person has the knowledge base to conduct training and things of that nature. And I think, I said, Mr. Stafford, that the how-tos, you could send a plumber to tell me how to be a plumber, but I'm never going to be as competent as somebody who was a plumber for 20 years like you were an emergency management professional for 20 years. And that's the piece I think that is going to be missing.
The part that also irritates me is that we're spending money on somebody else to do all the work at the different sites, right? A coordinator? Why don't we have the people who are already there? Why aren't they the people? I don't really understand that. Why are we hiring and spending more money on someone to do this?
Yeah, that is. I'm sorry.
I don't have.
No,
I
okay,
understand.
not for you.
And,
You
and
understand.
that's,
Okay.
the workload of the campus or of the plant managers.
Alexander. Okay.
Not my wheelhouse.
I have a question. I'm just trying to get in a really good understanding of the process in terms of safety.
Yes, sir.
Right. I agree that we need the training and we need consistency one more time. But I'm wondering, how would you explain the fact that we have the president of the certificated union saying, I walk in there and nobody asked me for my ID or who I was. I don't think we need an expert in a bomb squad or something like that to train a personnel to ask for that with the expertise of a coordinator. That's what I meant with an expert on bomb squad. Okay, so forgive me if I was not. Yeah. But that is a basic expectation that anybody would be doing it, right? Do we agree on that? As a campus supervisor, we are going to be asking that. So, couldn't this be the approach, a issue of the system, a systemic approach on issues? Because if that is happening at that basic level, I'm just wondering, something more sophisticated or that requires more training, how are we going to know just because we have a coordinator that is going to happen? That is one thing. The other one, I agree, we need somebody to be monitoring those agreements, and I come back to the basic level. But if we have a coordinator for all the sites on the district, that person is not going to be doing that on a daily basis, is it? No, right?
Well,
it's just going to be
that person
maybe
won't
once
be.
a
No,
week.
that person won't be at every site on
That
every.
person is not going to be in every site. So we come back to the fundamental issue here of the implementation of what we already have. So that's what I was. I'm trying to understand that from your perspective of an expert in safety. How come we are not able to implement the basic elements of safety? What would be the cause, or how can we address that? We are thinking at higher levels, but I just want to understand the fundamental.
I think at the most basic level, and I tried to convey this through the findings. You have incredibly dedicated staff who are working in a system that doesn't completely value what they do. And one of the things that I consistently heard from the campus supervisors is, if we know the importance the district puts on us because we answer to a plant manager. Just like if the culinary staff answered to the plant manager, you would be telling them that nutrition in the schools is not as important as maintenance in the schools. And if you told the maintenance staff, maintenance and operations, that they answered to the head of security, they would receive the message that maintenance and operations is subordinate or secondary in importance to security. And as long as you have that bifurcation, we can train forever. I don't know that we're going to solve the communications issue and a lot of the issues that I brought up in the report. They all have to do with a lack of a head to the octopus. To some extent, obviously, if you have employees, regardless of supervising them, who are not doing their job correctly, then the system needs to be fixed. Obviously, a one-time I came on campus, although it's very important, that's anecdotal. And I can't say that the problem is supervision. I can't say that the problem is lack of training. I can't say it might have been that was that time where something was happening elsewhere on the campus and they were occupied. And I'm not saying, who knows? But I think as a consultant, there comes a point where I have to leave my results and my findings where they're at and leave it to the cabinet and the board to figure out what they're going to do with them. Because, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but there's only so much. I'm an expert. I am paid to come in and make findings and suggestions. But on the same token, I'm not supposed to be an advocate for only one position, because my job is to give you guys information. And I think I'm to the point where I need to stop, or else I'm going to get to the point of being an advocate, and that's not my job.
Thank you. So, if I may make a comment to the board, I think with this position, this coordinator or whatever the title may be, They will oversee the training. They will oversee the safety handbook, the things that need to be implemented, the day-to-day operations with consistency and communication. You know, before where I'm employed, we evolved too. We had to evolve. And, you know, we had people from our, what is it? Why can't I think of the name? They do the lawsuits and everything with safety. Risk management. They overseen us. They also neglected us. But I think for these people here who put their lives on the line every single day, whether you agree with me or not, they need this. They need this to better themselves, our district, and most importantly, provide safety for every student on this campus, or not just our campus, every campus, and our staff. And I could only speak from experiences. If I had not been trained the way I've been trained, I would not have been able to handle active shooters or the stabbings that I've been involved with. So I could attest this is crucial. This is something Paris Union needs to adopt. And I know we have a motion and it's been seconded, so we have to vote unless there's an amendment. But I ask that we go through and vote for this position, and they could keep bringing us the information we need, because it'll evolve. It'll get deeper, because we have great questions. You know, Tony, I respect you, and I know you're concerned with the plant manager. Look, these guys are hard workers. Everyone here are hard workers. But I'd also like to see someone representing the security department and showing that these guys are valuable just as much as our food services, our administrators, our teachers, our counselors, our principals, and everybody else. It's time that they get a little bit of attention too.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. Any other comments before we proceed to vote?
No, I appreciate all the comments. I think we're going around in circles now. So we've been doing it for probably the last half hour. My suggestion was to table it and go forward and talk about it some more. If we have to vote, that wasn't what I was told. So let's follow procedure.
What would have to happen, Mr. Stafford, is that the person who made the motion would have to amend their motion to be able to table, like what you were saying, what your suggestion was.
What happens if we table it? What's going to happen at that point? Are we going to have another?
You would give us direction where we're going to go from here. I'm just letting you know, Mr.
Mr. Nelson, yeah. Yeah.
Personally, I honestly don't want to amend it. I'd rather us take a vote to see where we all stand and see if this is something that, if we vote it down, then by all means we can retool it and bring it back in our time. But if we, as a majority of the board, agree that this is what we want to do, then I think that we should vote on that as is.
I agree.
Okay, so we are going to proceed to vote then. Thank you. Okay, this action item is 2 in favor, 1 against, and 2 abstentions. The motion. We need to have 3. Yeah, the motion has not been approved. I mean the action item. The action item has not been approved. Yeah. Okay. We go to the next. We can reconsider.
Well,
It ends.
the motion does not carry.
The motion does not carry. Yeah. We go to the next. The next action item is 14.5, Building and Grounds. Board review of the annual reportable fees report in consideration of resolution number 16/1718, approving the annual reportable fees report for fiscal year 2016-2017 in compliance with Government Code 66,000 et sec. Do we need to make a motion first? Yeah. Do we have a motion? Trustee Nellison and Trustee Twyman. Anything that you would like to add? Yeah, that's okay.
Discussing something.
No, that's fine.
We seem to have forgot. Thank you. So this is our annual reportable fees report that was prepared by our facility staff, posted for public review. It's something we're required to do by law, and asking the board to approve that tonight.
Any questions from the Board of Trustees? No questions? Okay, so please vote. Action item 14.5 has been approved, 5-0. 14.6 is also an action item from the Business Department, approval of the 2016-2017 audit report. Do I have a motion? Ms. Trustee Twyman and Trustee Nellison.
Just real quick, I'd like to introduce Brian Ruff with Vavernick Trine Day and Company. Brian's the partner with VTD, our audit firm, and our audit was sent up to the state by December 15th, I believe is the criteria. So Brian was just going to give a very brief presentation to you tonight on I was going to say the findings, but that's not accurate.
There are no findings.
There are no findings, which is a good thing.
That is a good thing.
He's going to give a summary of the report.
Yes. I think the first year in quite some time, nothing. No management letter comments this year either. So that ASB training's really taken hold. So within the report, our responsibility is to express an opinion on the financial statements and also on the district's internal controls and its compliance with federal and state program reporting and accounting. Each opinion is clean. No modifications to that opinion, no findings. We didn't have any audit adjustments to the district's unaudited actuals that were presented in September, so moving forward and everything that you're doing with budgeting moving forward, you can rely on those numbers from June 30, 2017. So we are 6 months into the year of 2017-18. Highlight for 2017-18's audit will be the impact of GASB 75, which is a Governmental Accounting Standards Board statement that indicates the district should accrue its entire liability for its other post-employment benefits, which would be health-related costs to current and retired employees of the district. In the past, that accrual was amortized over a 30-year period. Now it's going to be brought in one lump sum, very similar to pension liabilities. So that number that you see outside of general funds and other operating funds of the district is going to be increasingly deficited, which all districts are experiencing. Simply to reflect that there is somewhat of a crisis in the state when it comes to pension and post-employment benefits, and the costs are rising significantly. And that's what the GASB is intending to present in our requirement to present that to you.
I could just temper that just a little bit because that sounded scary.
It is scary.
So if it makes the board feel any better, we actually have two former board members under the previous government code that receive other post-employment benefits, whereas that's different than many other districts where that number is very, very, very large. So don't let what Brian said to you scare you.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's true. You thinking back on it and what Candace just said, there's some districts in the state that gave it all away. Paris didn't. So that was a good thing. Just bringing that to your attention. That liability could be significantly more than you might think just with implicit rate subsidies. What an implicit rate subsidy is that those that receive future benefits, whether it's something that you do from an action today, tomorrow, or in a month, or in a year, it could impact the district down the road as it relates to future retirees. An implicit rate subsidy is it's a blended rate for those retirees who otherwise would pay more in medical cost than somebody just starting out in their career. So it's also something to be aware of as you take any kind of action in the future. One other point I want. Go ahead. Yes. $170. That's all right. Last comment, I'd like to thank Candace and her staff. You guys, they're still talking. You guys, Alicia helped us with the fiscal year-end audit, although she came in after the fiscal year-end. You guys got a good one there. I worked with her for a number of years in Hemet, so nice hire there. Look forward to working with the district in the future. Very clean report this year. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Action item 14.6 has been approved, 5-0. The next item is an information item and is a public hearing. Public hearing regarding building tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy is a charter petition. Okay. At this time, now we will convene a public hearing on the building tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy charter petition. Under Education Code Section 47605, the board must hold a hearing to consider the level of support for the petition by teachers employed by the district, other employees of the district, and parents. As part of this public hearing, the District Legal Counsel, Lori Hsu, will make a presentation to the board in which she will provide the board with an overview of the Building Tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy charter petition, outline the standard for reviewing charter petitions, and briefly describe the district's process for reviewing the Building Tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy charter petition. Ms. Hsu, I will now turn it over to you to make a presentation for no more than 10 minutes.
Thank you, Board President. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet, and Superintendent Bennett. As Board President mentioned, I would like to provide the board with an overview of the Building Tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy charter petition, outline the standard for reviewing charter petitions, and briefly address the district's process for reviewing the charter petition. The lead petitioner for the Building Tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy submitted the charter petition to the district on or about December 14th, 2017. The petitioners seek a 5-year charter term that will commence on July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2023. The petitioners for the Building Tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy propose to operate a classroom-based program that will serve students in 6th through 12th grade. The petitioners intend to provide an educational setting that focuses on learning through an inquiry and discovery-based approach with early access to college. For its first year of operation, the petitioners intend to serve 150 students in grades 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Thereafter, they intend to grow their enrollment by 100 students in years 2 and 3, during which time they will enroll students in grade levels 7 and 8. The petitioners anticipate a total student enrollment of 400 students by year 5. As required by the Education Code, the district is holding tonight's public hearing to consider the level of support for the charter petition by teachers, other employees, and parents and guardians in the community. The district is required to analyze the charter petition for legal sufficiency. As part of its analysis, the district must review and assess the charter petition in accordance with specific criteria provided in the Education Code. Specifically, the district must review the petition to determine whether the charter school presents a sound educational program for students to be enrolled in the charter school. The petitioners are demonstrably likely to successfully implement the program set forth in the petition. The petition contains the requisite number of signatures from teachers meaningfully interested in teaching at the charter school or from parents who are meaningfully interested in enrolling their students in the charter school. The petition contains an affirmation of each of the required conditions, and the petition contains a reasonably comprehensive description of all 16 required elements. The district is in the process of conducting a comprehensive review of the proposed charter petition based on the required elements and criteria. The district's review is already underway and includes an analysis of the proposed educational program, fiscal and governance structures, student admissions and discipline, labor and personnel issues, proposed facilities and operations, and legal issues. At the conclusion of the district's review of the proposed charter petition, the district's board will be provided with district staff's evaluation of the petition and a recommendation for the board's consideration as to whether the petition should be granted or denied. The determination of whether to grant or deny the Building Tomorrow's Leaders Charter Academy charter petition will be made by the district's board at its regularly scheduled meeting on February 21st, 2018 at 5:00 p.m. With that said, I will now turn it back over to the board president to continue on with the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shui, for your presentation. As part of this public hearing, petitioners may next make a presentation and or provide statements to the board regarding the charter petition for no more than 10 minutes. Following the presentation and or statements made by the petitioners, the board may hear comments from teachers and other employees, parents, guardians, and any members of the public who desire to speak on this matter. This matter will then come back to the board for final action at the February 21st regular board meeting. If the petitioners would like now to make a presentation or provide statements to the board, please feel free to come forward.
Good evening, President. Good evening to all of our board, cabinet members, and Superintendent Bennett. My name is Alicia Barrage, and I am the lead petitioner for Building Tomorrow's Leaders and the Visionary. We have with us tonight, we have a few of our founding members and staff. We have with us Dr. Thomas, who is over our curriculum and would be our principal. We have Benedito Arduino, who is our counselor and currently our associate director. We have Jared Hernandez, who is actually, which you will see in the video, he is a former student of ours with the current program that we operate in Moreno Valley and is now a mentor coordinator with us. We also have Ty Morgan, who will be over our vocational classes. We have Pastor Briggs here, who is also a good supporter for Building Tomorrow's Leaderships. And by phone, we will have, if there's any questions for our budget, Suzanne Coy. So with that, I know we are limited on time of 10 minutes. So we tried to figure out what could we possibly say to you that maybe someone else has not said to you before, because I'm sure you've had hundreds of petitions come across your desk. So what we decided to do was, instead of coming up here saying, well, we're going to do this or we're going to do that or we hope to do this, we decided to show you what we're currently doing. And all we're doing is taking a model that we've already been very successful with for the past 8 years in Moreno Valley and now expanding it to have our own charter school. But we want to work with the district. Our population that we're basically targeting is more of the undeserved. You may call them at risk. We've been working with that population for the past 8 years with our current program. And we just hope that we can work with the district. And as you can see, or you might have saw in our petition, we are open and we are willing to modify or change whatever it takes so that we can be an asset to the Paris district. So with that, we're going to show a video. It's a short documentary that was done a few years ago, but to at least let you see what we're doing and how we're going to just expand on it. Thank you.
I wanted to be somebody in life, go places in life.
When I got out, I got into school, I didn't think I could open up to people the way I could open up to them.
finally here, I graduated with honors. I finally accomplished something that I've been trying to do.
Motivating here.
My whole mentality like changed. It's a better environment.
And Rising Stars makes you feel comfortable, like it's your family. I've never worked in any school like Rising Star Business Academy. It's something greater than a school. The school is not one of the big, it's one of a kind.
By the age of 23, I became a Los Angeles police officer for LAPD. Being a police officer, working in South Central, I'm seeing my kids 10 years old wearing the tape to jail. Unfortunately, until you can kind of remove them or put people that can mentor them in their lives, they're just out there. What Rising Stars Business Academy is basically is youth rebuilding, an opportunity for young people ages 16 to 24 that somehow kind of got in focus, from the traditional high school.
The reason I started this was to be able to provide a platform for underprivileged kids. Kids who have dropped out of high school or been expelled, kids that are over the age of 18 who are aged out. We allow those kids to come to our program, give them a solid foundation, give them a good environment where we're not judging them, we're not characterizing them as any particular individual. There's some brilliant kids that just need somebody to believe in them.
A lot of that's missing, the love and the care and just being there for them.
Give them the chance to prove to themselves and to others that they can accomplish something. We offer the core curriculum that any high school provides. We're a WASH-accredited facility, which means we have the same credentials as a school district.
What we offer is mentoring, tutoring, leadership development, entrepreneurship, business.
We have a construction component. We have a life skills program.
We try to pull out of our students their passion. What is it that you like? And when we find out what they like to do, we also show them how they can turn that in for profit.
I want to become a therapist.
Start my own business.
Fish homemade parties. A counselor or a probation officer. I want to be a pediatric nurse.
I want to major in business right there. Actually, open my own barbershop. I want to try to go for my BA, my business associate's degree. We're teaching them skills that would enable them to understand what the real world is going to expect from them. Our motto here is failure is not an option. When we tell the kids during orientation, we're not going to allow you to do the things you did at your other high school here. That's what got you here. The difference between us and a traditional high school, however, is that I'm able to sit down and identify a problem with a student because I'm seeing behavioral changes in him as he goes along.
We have certain students that, have to take like an anger management class, maybe substance abuse. We have a program now within our leadership development where we're talking about anger. We're talking about how you deal with substance abuse, what can happen if you're in it.
There's people here like your mentors. There's actually mentors here that actually been through something and they can relate to your story. And you can feel where they're coming from because they understand. It's like you guys are on the same level.
I know that little lifestyle, I've been through it, and if I could help them to avoid that lifestyle and go a different path, that's a blessing for me.
I grew up in, after my parents were it was a single parent home, but my dad was an alcoholic, and my mom worked jobs all the time, so she was never there. I used to have a social worker when I grew up, and I loved how she dealt with us, and she bought us Christmas gifts even when she didn't have to during Christmas time when we were little, and I want to be that social worker, that hero for the youth too, someone to look up to.
We promote family a lot here because we know a lot of our students don't have family.
People are not scared to talk because we're brothers and sisters. We feel that we're family, we can do it as a family, and therefore we want to succeed as a family. The future of this community is based on the kids today. We're developing responsible individuals in our program to enable greater value improvement.
Without schools like Rising Stars Business Academy, there would be 1,000 students a year not graduating from this district. I believe they come out with a tremendous amount of self-confidence and increased self-esteem. Beyond all of that, they come out with a certain sense of self-respect, which is crucial.
We're trying to help them to understand that regardless of what you're going through, you got to give back a little bit. And that's our philosophy. We give a lot back to the community. Our partnerships are Stop the Violence. We have Ambassadors of Compassion. They just recognized one of our students at the Lombardi Awards. She won the Junior Lombardi Award for academic achievement. Young
things we try to teach these kids is you fail to plan and you plan to fail. And ultimately, attitude determines altitude. I'm happy to say that when they leave here, they leave here on another level. Work ethic, our level of self-esteem, our level of belief in ourselves, just our commitment to a better quality of life. And that's what we're here to do.
Our reward comes the day they walk across the stage and get the diploma. That's when we know we've accomplished something. We're giving back to the community someone now who's prepared, who's ready to accept the challenge, who's not going to quit, who's not going to give up.
They're learning how to be responsible. They're learning how to go out where they now can get a job. They're going to become entrepreneurs. Maybe that means them staying in their community, opening up businesses for themselves.
We're developing kids that will be great leaders here, and they just want you to believe in them. They just want you to give them a chance. I've never seen a school that provokes what they provoke, that helps the way they help. And I'm not just talking about within the school, I'm talking about outside of the school.
Ever since we opened up in 2010, we always have had a waiting list, and we need to expand so we can have the space, and we don't have to say we can only take 20 students. We want to take as many students that are interested. We need a cafeteria so we can actually service hot food for them, and we're looking to even get into more like a performance art.
There's a lot of need here, and I believe that this program has potential to grow.
We can start from the foundation, K through 12, because if we could take this model and start it with younger kids, then who knows where they'll be, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the line, and you not ever have to attend maybe an alternative program.
You know what, if I could just follow up the school and say, let's take this school and do a copycat all over, this world would be so much better.
Thank you. So that was a presentation, and yes, you see it was Rising Stars, but basically we are taking from that model and we're just continuing it on, and we're looking to start it anywhere from middle school to high school. It just depends on what the need is here in Paris, and just how we have built so many partners and supporters, and we do so much in the community in Moreno Valley. That's why now we want to do the same here in Paris. So with that, I thank you so much for the time, and I believe we have some other speakers that may want to say something, but I will stand behind for any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all the petitioners, and thank you for the presentation. We may now take comments from members of the public. We have received cards from 3 people who wish to address this subject. Each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes for such comments, depending on how many comments cards we have received. And the total time limit for public comment will be 20 minutes. So we have 3, so we're looking at 9 minutes. So we are between that time frame. Okay, so we are going to proceed, and we are going to invite Jared Hernandez, please, to the podium.
How you doing? Kind of nervous, but the video was a good reputation of what they do, because I've been there before. I was 18 going in my senior year at Valley View High School. I noticed that I wasn't going to graduate my senior year, so that's when I found out about the program. I went to enroll, and just going in just to enroll, it already felt like that was the place I was supposed to be. Everybody was just so nice, so friendly, just so acceptant, like they didn't even question, why are your credits like this? What'd you do in the past? They just accepted it and kept it going. So I ended up enrolling, and I was deficient probably like in 110 credits. So then it took me like about 1.5 years to graduate. I graduated 2000, I think going into 2014. So from there, they helped me, my leadership skills, they helped me do resumes, they helped me actually get a job. So I left there and started working warehouses. But when you see a dramatic change, somebody helping you so much, you can't leave it, So I was working warehouses, but I always caught myself going back. I was always going back and checking in, saying hi and all that. So I started volunteering my time, and then about 1.5 years ago, Miss Alicia offered me a position there. She wanted to know if I would want to work there, and I said, yeah, sure. So I started working part-time as just the assistant, basically following her steps, whatever she needed done, get it done. She wanted some coffee, I'll get her some coffee, so whatever it was. And then she offered me a position as a mentor coordinator. So now what I do is I go out and I try to find people that want to give back and be there for somebody that needs to be there, because that was what I needed at the time, so that's what was given to me. And then when she just recently she came and asked, she came and said that she wanted to do a charter school in Paris, and she asked me what I felt about that, and I said, yeah, of course, because I know how much it changed my life, so I know it will be able to change another youth's life. So I'm with her all for that, and I hope it goes through. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker, Mr. Benny Ortuño.
Good evening, Mr. President of the board and Superintendent and the cabinet. It's funny because I walked in and I saw Mr. Bennett's picture on the board on the wall. I'm like, oh, Mr. Bennett's superintendent here. You were my principal back in 2000. Well, not back in Paris High School. So I was like, oh, I'm about to call Mr. Bennett again. So I'm a product of Paris High School, and what you guys had instilled in my life and what JRTC did there. And I actually stumbled on Rising Stars Business Academy as a volunteer at Moreno Valley College. I was there. I always had a passion working with youth, doing something that made an impact on people's lives, doing something more than just myself. And then she offered a position to me too. She offers positions to anybody looking. I'm just kidding. She offered me a position, and I said, okay, this sounds great. And seeing what happens there at Rising Stars Business Academy and the dramatic change that you see in the young people's lives, coming from, undeserved communities, underprivileged, low socioeconomic status, things that people sort of tack on as reasons why they cannot succeed. And then, or you can see they can't succeed. And I know her approach for the charter is to sort of intercept before it gets to that level, which is why she's starting at a middle school grade 6. And I believe when you start at a younger age, they won't end up at a program to where they feel like, okay, I'm here because I haven't finished high school. It's a great program, and I will never say, our young people shouldn't be there. They're there for a reason. But maybe there's those that can be helped before they even get to that step. And I think that's what her vision is. I know that's what her vision is, and that's what she wants to instill, and that's what she wants to do with the young people here in Paris. And I would love to come work with the population where I came from, and I would love to see this charter go through. And that being said, I just thank you for your time, and I know that this would be a charter that will make a great impact for those who want to make that decision to maybe have another option besides, and maybe what else there is here. So those are my words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Orduño. Our next speaker, William Welch.
Wake y'all up. All right, I don't have too much to say. I don't want to belabor the time because I know everybody's tired. We've all had long days, and we all need to get home to our families. And so, but I do want to say this. I've worked here in the Paris Union. I worked here several years ago as an intervention and prevention specialist over at the academy. And so I know some of the needs that this community needs. And so I just want to say this regarding what Ms. Alicia is trying to do and what she's trying to bring to this community. I know a lot of times when we begin to talk about charters coming within another community, especially with school districts, I know sometimes it can be a little friction there, and I don't want you guys to ever think that this is why we're coming, to steal students, to take students, or to create any type of havoc. But I want you guys to look at us like this, as a resource, as a collaborative effort to come and work with you guys. We love this community. I'm a part of this community, and we want to be able to provide as much help, not just to you guys, but again, to the community as we can. We have so much to offer. And again, I said it in the video, there's no program such as this program. And I work in 3 different counties, LA, San Bernardino, and Riverside. I work with multiple organizations dealing with multiple kids from multiple fashions. And I just want to say this, man, we're here to help. We're not here to tear down. We're here to be a help to you guys, to help whatever the needs is. We're here to try to provide those and do as much outreach as we can and help as many kids as we can. And again, like I said, we're not here to tear down anyone. We're here strictly as a resource for the community as well as for Paris Union District. And just wanted to put emphasis on that. And so I want you guys to think about us tonight when you go home and you're hanging out with your families. Think about us tonight because we're here as a hand and as a help, all right? All right. So that's all I got to say. I don't have too much to say tonight.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you all for your comments. The public hearing on the building tomorrow's Leader Charter Academy charter petition is now closed. Yes, at 7:44 p.m. Closed at 7. Okay, we are going to continue with our regular board meeting. And the next item is an information item, 16.1, curriculum, the new English language development course, academic guidance for college and career success, not an A through G course. 16.2, also information item, is the revolving cash report for the month of November 2017. 16.3, business from the business department, revolving cash report for the month of December. 16.4 is an information item, board policies, personnel, series 4000. And the last action item, and last item of the day is an action item, 17.1 for closed session if necessary.
Not necessary this evening.
Not necessary, so last 18.1 is not applicable because we are not going to reconvene in public session. 19.1 is an action item, it's a discipline. Board review of discipline matters. Do I have a motion? Trustee Twyman and Trustee Stafford. Please vote. Action item 19.1 has been approved, 5-0. Next action item 19.2, reinstatement of student discipline matters. Do I have a motion? Mr. Stafford and Mr. Trustee Ellison. Please vote. Action item 19.2, approved, 5-0. 20.1, other items by the superintendent.
Yes, I do have one item, and I want to apologize to her. We, as part of our action item with certificated, we've hired a new, ERMS therapist for the district. We had one leave during the summertime, and we be able to get a new one to come in, and I want to introduce her to everybody this evening. Karna Humbert, classified personnel. She's a classified manager.
Superintendent and the cabinet, thank you for having me, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity for working for Paris Union High School District and looking forward to getting to know all of you. Yeah.
I appreciate you being here all night. This was a test.
There you go.
Welcome to our district.
Report.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Other items by the Board of Trustees?
I did have one question. I know it goes back to the proposal for the Charter Academy. Where do you guys propose to have this site? Because the only address I see in the handbook is in Moreno Valley, which is the current one, correct? Your current site. Where did you guys propose to have this in the city of Paris? Because I couldn't find anything in this handbook.
Yes, we don't have a physical address as of today.
Okay.
But we are working with individuals that know Paris a little bit better than us.
Okay.
And they are scouting out several locations, and I share with them exactly what we're looking for.
Okay.
So we hope to have something like definite within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. Trustee Stafford? Final comments? No? Okay, the next one. I'm sorry, I missed. Yeah, Trustee Garcia.
Again, I want to thank everyone for your hard work. Principals, teachers, counselors, everyone. You know, all the way from security, custodian, food services, plant managers. Thank you guys. You know, I know we have some intense debates here and conversations and questions. We're really here for you and the students. So don't think that we're not paying attention, we're not listening. I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate you all and all your hard work. Thank you for everything. Especially you guys at the charter school. I'm listening to your messages and everything. That's what we're about too. So, I can't answer nothing, but
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. I just want to join the comments from the other board members. I want to say thank you to everybody, to all of our staff members for your commitment and your dedication to our students. And during this calendar year, I wish all of you a happy new year, a great success during the 2018. Also, I wish I could have the opportunity when the students were here to mention, and I put a message on Twitter last month about how proud I am of all the staff members and our students. For your knowledge, Paris Union District, high school district, it is the only district in Riverside County. We have 23 school districts, I believe. The dashboard was released. And you know that the blue circle is the highest performance that we can get in every category, or there is a specific name. Is that category? How do we call this? Mr. Tipi? Indicators. The indicators. And one of them was in ELs, in the improvement of English learners, and the other one was the graduation rates. And I know that we are working really hard in order to meet the other indicators. And I recognize, and the district recognize also, that there is a lot of work to do in math in terms of the CASP results, but I'm really glad to hear immediately that we are already working on a plan to address that. So this is really important for us and for the community because historically, and based on my experience on the 20 years that I have been living in Paris, there has been a stereotype that Paris is a low-performing, the Paris Union High School District, but the results are speaking for themselves. They are there. No other district has the two. Highest performance is the only one. So this is big, and it means a lot for the community, for us, and this is the results of your work, working together with the district office. So that reflects definitely the commitment that you have for our students. So thank you for doing that, and I know that we are going to continue working for next year, potentially get 3, right? And not have the red in math. I trust that we, because we have one, I don't remember the greens, but we are really close to get from green to blue. Yes, sir.
Can I add, because I left some people out, and ladies, Sarah, Lori, Cabinet, you all do a wonderful job too, and thank you for everything. And I have to say, because I started naming, job titles and everything, but you all do a fantastic job. Mr. Bennett, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. The second item that we need to talk here is, the the ultimate goal is that the high school, say Perris Union High School District, is to have our students graduating from high school and go to college. But one of the indicators is high school graduation, and we are going to be talking about our graduation ceremonies that they are coming up at the end of this semester already. Yeah, so I have the dates and the sites of the graduation speaking assignments, and I would like to share with you the options that we have. Where would you like to speak to our graduates? On Tuesday, I'm going to give you a copy, so you have a specific copy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so Trustee Stauffer, if you would like to share with us what site would you like to be the speaker?
One site at a time. I did 2 last year.
Yeah, we can start with one and then we go to a second round.
We don't do CMI though.
Yeah.
They started last year.
Tony spoke at CMI, yeah.
I'll start with Pinacati.
Pinacati, Mr. Stauffer. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I know I'm going to get 2, so I'll take Heritage and Paloma again.
Okay, Paloma.
Unless somebody else wants to. Heritage and Paloma.
Okay.
I have for the last 4 years.
Paloma Valley High School and Heritage.
Unless somebody wants to. I'll take a second one there.
Okay, and Trustee Garcia.
Paris High.
You said you couldn't do Friday, so I did Paloma. So.
I'll do Paris High.
Okay.
You got Paris High.
No, he's got Paris High.
And then I might be able to do Paris High as well.
You're not giving me anything for me.
No, go
Yeah.
You also have CMI as well.
Okay, I will do Ferris Lake. And you can do CMI also?
I could make
Friday morning.
you guys go first.
Dr. Rouse doing Paris Lake.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dr. Rouse doing Paris.
I'm doing Paris Lake,
Okay.
yes.
And then who's doing CMI?
CMI Garcia. Yeah.
So you're doing Paris High School and CMI and Edward?
We'll get that information out to you.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to, no, that's it. That's everything.
Yeah. We have all of them, right?
So,
Yeah.
Pinacati,
Yeah.
Heritage, Paloma Valley, Paris, CMI, and Paris Lake.
That's good. All right. So we are going to move forward with our next item, that is to adjourn. It's an action item. Do I have a motion?
Stay a little longer.
Trustee Nelson. Do I have a second? Trustee Stafford. Please vote. Action item 22.1 has been approved 5-0, and this meeting is adjourned at 7:56 p.m.